Greetings everybody, Sive Morten here with the Forex Peace Army.com as usual. So let's have a look again on cryptocurrencies. In general, overall context remains bearish. Currently, market is probably too aimed on growing of the risky assets, and you can see what's going on the stock market. So our suggestion is that market is a bit overestimating the positive effect of some negotiations between Donald Trump and Iran. And very soon, the first echo of the contraction of the crude oil supply will appear in the statistics. Since the real breakout in the negotiations hasn't happened, so that's might make impact on the markets very soon. And the fact why the actually cryptocurrency right now is falling is just because investors see better opportunities in other risky assets, particular stocks. So first, they prefer to buy primary assets rather than buying some cryptocurrency, which is more risky and always treated as a second quality assets. That's why demand and interest to the cryptocurrency right now is a bit muted. Besides, there is still some argue around Clarity Act. So if you heard the recent interview of the Jimmy Dimon from the JP Morgan, he said that actually he's worrying about the perspective of the banking sector if stablecoins will get the chances to generate the income. So it's not everything is done yet there, but some work stands in progress, and we think that Clarity Act will be accepted relatively soon, and probably situation might change. But currently, you can see what's going on. So on the weekly chart, you can see that in fact the minimum target of our engulfing pattern has been completed because market passed down approximately the same distance and the length of the bars. Here it stands at the support, as we said, and actually the week is starting with the same position. Trend remains nominal bullish, but price action stands in downside action. So on the lower time frames, on the daily chart, you can see what is going on. So market stands slightly below the 30% support, and with this downside action, trend remains bearish. Market is not at oversold, and that makes me think that probably we should get deeper action, somewhere down to the 70 area, maybe even lower in the current circumstances. Mostly on the higher time frames, we do not see a lot of information. On the daily and the weekly, we not see patterns, actually nothing, just overall direction, that's it. But on lower time frames, we have some details. So for example, on the 4 time frame chart, there are a couple of moments to mention. First of all, that was the first target of this ABCD pattern, 72.68, and you can see that it has been tested. Now we stand in some pullback. This actually was the reason why we said just keep an eye on this, might be some pullback here. First moment to mention is acceleration. So you can see that this action stands much faster than in general action here. When such circumstances happen, acceleration to the first target, it really big chances that market will proceed lower. This is the major target, 69.40 approximately, it's around 70. It's AB equals CD extension. Second moment to mention here is the type of the reaction. It is very choppy, slow, and very small. So we do not have even 30% pullback here. So it's just some kind of the rounding performance is forming. So better could be seen on the hourly chart. You could see what we have. 30% level has not been tested. Just we'll adjust it a bit to see. You can see market just briefly touched the low, so even hasn't challenged them and start rounding down. So that also doesn't look really bullish. And so my suggestion here, if of course nothing extraordinary will happen, everything will remains as it stands right now. It's chances stands better that market will just keep going lower to the OP target. Besides, in the current circumstances, I even do not see clear patterns. So probably you could treat it some kind of the cap Maybe some handle will be in the before downside action will continue. That's probably all that we could identify in the current moment. Here we do not have even some clear patterns or something to use. Initially, I thought that maybe we could get a kind of the Garter's typical 2 pattern to sell, so a BCD retracement somewhere here, nothing. So the one thing that theoretically might be suggested is some kind of the butterfly here to the downside. I don't know, just to trying to calculate the downside extensions. So we could consider, but it will be short term because this is our chart. We are interested with the performance on the high time frames. So 70, 72, 71, 32. So that's probably that, since both of them stands above daily target, as we have here actually, 69.40, it will not become the final points. So my reaction might happen here, but market will be on this halfway to the major target. That's why I'm not expecting that here something might happen. Besides, this will be just a free space without any big support. And from that standpoint, you hardly also makes big sense in the current circumstances. So that's actually what we have. Context remains bearish. We're not considering taking any new longs. Target, as I said, major target stands right here, 69.40. This market is now rounding down. So usually it leads to some acceleration. If, of course, as I said, nothing external will happen. That's actually our 2 cents on the Bitcoin market. Let's see what will happen and return back to the subject as usual on Thursday.